season was in Sacramento, and that was the SAC invite. And normally we would spring break train in Sacramento for about 3 or 4 days, but this year we raced in Sac, then we went to the Davis invite, and then we wanted to go to Bird Cup in Newport, and they have really a world-class venue, the Newport Aquatic Center, and they gave us an invitation to come last year, and because they're trying to get the subscription up to the Bird Cup, and so it was really a wonderful opportunity for us to be down there. We've never trained the entire week of spring break, so this was kind of a new adventure. And 9 days, I think we were all just a little tired of each other by the time we came home on Sunday, but super productive.
Tell me a little bit about how it was productive. What did you guys get out of that training?
So when we raced on Saturday in Sacramento, we raced some of our big Division I rivals, and Sacramento was just has really taken a huge step forward in their speed, and we always kind of try to use them as our moniker, and they were just so far out in front that it was obviously a little disappointing, very surprising. We got to face off with UC San Diego for the first time, and they're our big Division II rival. We've really been lucky enough that late season results have really been what's allowed us to go to the national championships probably for the last 2 or 3 years. And so we got the best of them on Saturday in the varsity 8. We beat them by 1 second, not necessarily rowing technically very well. And I think that just comes out of not having any really good race opportunities until the month of March. We go on to, finish middle of the pack at Sacramento, and that's not surprising when you're racing against those D1 schools. But we got UC San Diego in the varsity 8 and the 4. They got us in the 2 3v8s and the novice 8. We went to Davis the next day, and of course, different speed of crews, so that put us really in front of the packs, except for one race where the coxswain kind of got run off the course and landed in the bushes, so that took some finagling to get out. And then just going down to Newport, the life of a student, a lot of our students are working part-time jobs, 15, 20 hours a week. They're rowing, they're taking heavy academic loads, and there's never a moment where we're not rushing around. So we start practice at 5 a.m. and we're sprinting out of the boathouse to get them back to classes by 9 o'clock. So the one luxury that spring break gives us is that we don't have to practice at 5 a.m. And so a little bit more sleep, we would like to say creates more productivity, but what we find is that when they practice later, and so we weren't starting until 9, we felt like they were probably staying up pretty late, not necessarily getting more sleep, but the fact that there was daylight. A lot of fog down there, everybody was so apologetic about the fog, and yet it didn't limit our ability to row, and it was probably on average 15 degrees warmer than it was. I think in the first day, I think there were some kids that got so sunburned that it really actually worked against us in trying to get some good work out of them. Probably the biggest thing that we got out of spring break were some pretty remarkable technical changes, right? So we really worked on some good technique that should have really equated into more power. And when we came down the race course on Saturday at Bird Cup, San Diego was in lane 7, and I think we were in lane 3, nowhere near each other. And we took them at the start, but we never settled. And they came down the race course at a 36 and a half, and San Diego came down at a 34. And they were moving seats on us, every 2 to 3 strokes that they were taking. So they had a really good run. So everything that we did over spring break didn't necessarily transpire into our racing. Positive thing for some of the crews, though, it did. So the novice 8 that they literally came off the line last. They trailed within the first 250 meters, and over the course of the race, they reeled everyone in but OCC. OCC has just a really sharp group in that lineup. There's only 8 ladies in that program, and so they row together on a day-to-day basis. And those ladies, those first year ladies, really made up the distance, and I think it was a 7-boat race. So it was, I think for them it gives us the thought that there is a lot of great potential, not just for this year, but what it means for the program next year. We beat UCSD on Saturday a week ago by a second, and they beat us by almost 10 seconds this last Saturday. Now, granted, it is spring break training, and we do expect that the fatigue factor is a little bit different. UC San Diego was going into exams, so we know they weren't practicing. They were pretty fresh. We had one young lady out of our 1B lineup that got sick and had to go to urgent care, had a sinus infection, so we pulled her out of the lineups, I think probably starting on Tuesday or Wednesday, so she was out for the week. So I think there's a lot of things that contribute maybe to our poor performance. What we found in our times from Saturday to Saturday was that our 1B was the biggest deviation of the times that we had the week before. So everybody else either improved or stayed about the same distance, and this was our biggest fall off. Of course, we head into San Diego Crew Classic in 2 weeks, and everybody in the West region will be there, and so then I think things will be really clear. Western Washington has already raced once this season, and they pulled a pretty good time in snow, windy conditions, and those are all things that really slow boats down. So we really do expect them to be fast. The other thing that UCSD, their student body voted to move to Division I, to fund it, to support it, and that has really changed their recruiting also. Everybody wants to be a Division I athlete, and I think being a UC and a Division I program, they said that they'd already started to see big changes in the people that are willing and wanting to come. So we knew they would be fast this year. They didn't graduate a lot of ladies last year, neither did Western, so we knew that they were going to be fast. And so we're really hoping when we go out in 2 weeks that we can at least get that distance back to 1 second. 1 second is good. 10 seconds is like being in a different zip code. This week we have home regatta. Chico State's coming, Mills College is coming, Cal Maritime Academy is coming, so it's a very short window of opportunity for racing. I think our first race is at 7:45 a.m. and we finished by 10:30. It's not a very sexy sport, so when I always think about the action of volleyball and basketball and football, for rowing it requires some patience because the races don't come down but every 15 minutes, so we always suggest that people bring a picnic basket, a good book, and every 15 minutes they can look up and they go, oh, and then they wait for another 15 minutes. Best place to watch is going to be at the foot of L Street, foot of D Street, foot of C Street. These are all on the boardwalk, so the finish line is between the Humboldt Bay Aquatic Center and the Adorning Center.
How good is it going to be for you guys to have a regatta here at home for a change instead of going on the road, especially after the big week you guys just had?
For sure. The first month of competition is hard because we'll have gone for 4 weeks straight, five weeks straight. So we'll have our first bye after Crew Classic. Home is important, mostly because there's a lot of mystery about rowing. We don't practice on campus, so that people know we have a crew team, but they never really have an opportunity to watch them to compete. And it's always very front-loaded in the early morning, and we get to do it once a year if we're really lucky. And we're fortunate enough that the programs that do come each year have a really good time here, and that's what brings them back is what it is, the experience that their students are having with other teams. We really try to cultivate that. We all joke that there's no mystery in rowing or basketball or football. Everybody's doing the same thing, and ultimately at the end of the day, we're all full-time students. We're all enjoying collegiate play, so we try to really create some and cultivate some good camaraderie between teams, which isn't always necessarily the case. When we were at Newport and they were announcing that the winner of the Varsity 8, they said UC San Diego, Humboldt State, and there was a woman behind me that said, I've waited 4 years to hear this, right? So it doesn't necessarily cultivate, like, you're like, wow, I never really thought about it like that. And you know, teams aren't necessarily commingling. So that's the one thing that we really try to do at home, is to make people feel like they're at home when they come to Humboldt. Seattle Pacific has come to our regatta for years. They just had a change in coaching, so they're not coming this year. And Sac State men were supposed to come, and they pulled out at the last minute. You know, there's a lot of snow in the forecast. If anybody's noticed the mudslides and the forecast and stuff, that does actually make you think before you start sending students on a road trip. So we're really looking forward. We're hoping that, you know, hometown crowd will come out at least for a short period of time, grab a cup of coffee, come down, and have a good time.
Great. I think that's all.
Thank
Let's
you
go.
so
Yeah.
much.